Today we're going to go over how to gain an effective bias with QT, whether it be daily, session, weekly. It's how to start putting pen to paper and really get an idea of where price will move. To start with, we were expecting bearish delivery this week, and more specifically this low, as outlined in the Discord on Sunday night. And I'm going to kind of go over the building blocks of what led to that, what led to this happening. And then you can make this fractal and do what you want with the information. To start with, there's a specific reason I don't trade Mondays unless there's an OSOC model forming off the previous Friday's range. And two reasons really. One, because I like to let Monday DFR print, because that is often a huge gauge on how the week will go. And then the second biggest thing is true week open. I mean, trading before we have the true week open doesn't make a lot of sense to me, simply because this is your filter, this is your gauge, this is your time premium discount. This is what you need to be looking for every single time you get in a trade, is where are we relative to our true opens. Not only for the best entries, but just that's how you sort high probability. So to start with, we had sequential between Friday's high and Monday's high. And a lot of you probably shorted this and didn't hit full TP, or did hit full TP and just took profit early. But I saw a lot of people get burned because they were expecting Monday to just deliver bearish fully because we had sequential, when in reality that's not the case, for mainly these two reasons right here. For one, price had nowhere to go, no gauge, nothing separating it from good and bad price action. It's a blind entry. True week not printed, and then the essential points of liquidity that will be focused on throughout the week have not occurred yet. They were being printed on Monday. That is what Monday did. That was the if then for Monday. Monday's purpose this week was to set the range and to set high probability points of liquidity, which it did just that for Wednesday's delivery. So to start with, we had the sequential. Yes, we did, but we're waiting for something bigger. We're waiting for, in better words, time to align instead of price. So this is Monday right here, and I mean, you can tell it stayed in between this range. It served its purpose. Tuesday, a little different. We drop. We don't really get above true week open until later in the day, PM session. We come up, and here's where the action starts to get. Here's where entries really start to occur, where people are really getting an idea of Wednesday going short. And that's how you should do it. You break it down by quarters. If then, if then. If Monday accumulates, expect Tuesday to manipulate. And that's what happened. We came up. We got sequential SMT. No precision swing point yet. So technically the sentiment has shifted, yes, because that is a lower time frame CISD right here. But from a QT perspective, we need that PSP to align, and it needs to be an hourly. So price starts to drop, but not only is it not an important time of day, it's just Tuesday Asian session, but we also did not have a precision swing point to verify this move until 11 p.m. on Wednesday. Sorry, 11 p.m. on Tuesday, which was before this True Day Open was printed. But I'm not worried about that because we already have True Week. So we get this PSP right here. You might be thinking this is a precision candle because it is not the highest high of the quarter, but that is not the case because on the Nikkei or NKD, this is the highest high of the quarter. So this is a precision swing point, and you'll notice this did get rated, which is fine. That can happen. The exception for that happening is this. Did it breach one standard deviation of the precision swing point? And the answer is no. Left it intact. So, perfectly fine there. And a lot of you probably not on charts at this time. It's 11 p.m. on a Tuesday, so you're probably not looking to trade. But that's the reason higher time frame analysis serves its purpose as higher time frame analysis, because the sentiment shifted right here. This is when bearish price action really got engaged. It was right here when this PSP was printed. Now, with that being said, yes, we have shifted, but we are not at a proper time to fully start distributing. There's no volatility entering the market. So what does it do? It waits for 9:30 to really start dropping. So you see this when you wake up in the morning and you start charting, and you look at what all this week has done, what all last night did, what London session, what Asian session did, and you gather your confluences here, and then going into 9:30 open or 10, whichever time you like to trade, you have this in mind. You have your sentiment, you have your idea shifted for this to go lower. So just that's going to be a simple and effective way. Just that alone, a mixture of DFR, sequential, PSP, True Week Open. That's 4 confluences if done correctly. You should be able to gain at least 75% accuracy when all of these things align over a sample size of hundreds of trades or hundreds of outlooks. You'll notice that this will yield high precision, as it should. That's the reason we're using it. Now, going a little bit deeper into the week, we are starting to see a reversal, but we have not been met with opposing daily, and for that matter weekly. We have not been met with the proper CICs to gain a full reversal, in my opinion. We'll see that as the week develops. My hands are off at the moment because this was the level I was calling for and it was hit. So I will just kind of be observing from the sidelines. Especially this close to elections, I'm very, very conservative with what I'm taking. A lot of crazy price action going on everywhere. I mean, it's not just indices, but that should give you the fundamentals on what you can start using to really get an effective bias going. I mean, even if you're just using two of these things, you're going to be better off starting that way. Like, starting with two of these and then working your way into more confluences is fine. The biggest thing you have to do is just start. I mean, you just have to start looking for sequential. You have to start looking for PSPs. You have to start looking for both of them. Then start looking for a DFR projection like this one. This is just an example, but we have hit -1 standard deviation of DFR, and we did start reversing shortly after. So that's something to look at going into the week, going into Thursday and Friday. I'm sure AM session will have its own story to tell, and then you just kind of have to go from there. I mean, that's why QT was created in the way it was, and not intended to be XAMD XAMD. It's if then. If this happens, then this will happen. If this happens, then this will happen. So on and so forth. And when you take these confluences and you mix them with that logic, you get a high probability outcome way of thinking. So you just have to stick with this. You have to realize that it doesn't come overnight, but when you start seeing these things as they're forming, you'll really start to see some changes in your trading.